now, former House Speaker and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich, also back with us all morning, Liz Peek and Brian Belsky. Speaker Gingrich, good morning. I'd like to start with you and get your reaction to Ken Paxton's comments there. This looks like it's the administration is trying to push an agenda here, but there may be some fight.
Well, there's going to be a lot of fight because the agenda that the Biden team is pushing is so far to the left of the campaign that people are going to be in a state of shock. For example, the 100-day block on deportation would have kept 45,000 people who either had criminal records or were up on criminal charges in the United States. Now, I think had you campaigned on, let me keep 45,000 criminals here. By the way, last year we had the largest increase in murder rates in American history. I think people would look at it askance. And the challenge that Biden's going to have, when you follow an executive order strategy, which Obama did and Trump did, you open yourself up to guaranteed lawsuits time after time, and you're going to lose some of those lawsuits. That's what happened in Texas yesterday.
Well, presumably he's employing that strategy because he doesn't feel that he can take this action and pass it through Congress. So this is one short-term way of doing it.
You know, one of the things I've noticed already in the first couple of weeks, they don't actually have a working majority in either the House or the Senate. They can't actually get things done. If you watch them right now, they're dancing around on his $2 trillion or $1.9 trillion bailout bill. They don't have the votes for it. And they don't have the votes to change the Senate rules. They've already had 2 Democrats defect. So I just think you're going to see that everything is harder than Biden thought it would be, and the legislature is harder. And frankly, he's trying to do things like kill jobs that the American people don't want to see done.
Yeah, and speaking of votes, it's not an action by President Biden, of course, but it doesn't appear that there are enough votes in the Senate to convict and impeach President Trump either. So it's something that we're watching here, how much this administration will be able to do. Still, of course, President Biden signing more executive orders yesterday, suspending new oil and gas leasing on federal land and pushing to end fossil fuel use by 2050. The president vowing that his administration would create millions of union jobs in the renewable energy sector. Speaker, your reaction to this, because actually a lot of folks are saying that it's killing jobs right now.
Well, he is killing jobs right now. And in fact, John Kerry said it's inevitable and get over it, which Kerry could afford to say because he's a multi-millionaire. But for you know, if you're a blue collar worker in New Mexico or North Dakota or parts of Colorado, you're looking at an administration that's going to bankrupt you. And the New Mexico Democrats have been they've been very open about how unhappy they are with what the president's doing. And as one of them said, you know, you stop the oil industry this morning, you're going to bankrupt our schools this afternoon, because those schools rely on oil and gas money in order to pay the local budgets. So they've started down a road which Obama tried for a while. It doesn't work. It's laughable to think that they're going to create enough clean energy jobs to replace all the jobs they're killing, starting with the thousands of union workers in the XL Keystone pipeline. And it's all just going to get worse. So what you're seeing happen is every destructive idea of the left is going to be tried out by this administration. And I think by this summer, there'll be great dissatisfaction with what's happening in the economy and what's happening in terms of the use of government power for radical ideas.
Liz Peek wants to join the conversation.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I think it's interesting that you're talking about how the Democrats don't have a functioning majority in Congress. There are these caucuses of moderates. Are they talking at all to the Biden administration and saying, hey, you know, we get it that you want to go with the executive order route, but how about kind of dumbing down the red flag issues like this abortion funding, killing the Keystone Pipeline? These are such hot topics and hot button topics. Why go there? I mean, it seems to me that, as you point out, you're just sort of enraging an awful lot of the country, which is totally unnecessary right now.
Well, except I think from the standpoint of the Biden coalition, it's very necessary. Remember, all the energy in the Democratic Party is on the left. It's the AOCs, it's the Bernie Sanders. And so Biden has this challenge. If he gave a speech, his inaugural address, which I thought was actually a pretty good speech. That was a Dwight Eisenhower, we can all come together, let's have unity. And then he turned right around the very same day and signed a whole series of executive orders which basically said, I'm going to govern from the left, and if you're a conservative, I'm going to run over you. Well, you got to decide which strategy you're going to follow. And the fact is, they don't have enough votes in the Senate for a left-wing strategy, and they barely have enough votes in the House for Pelosi to survive if they continue down this road, because the Democrats in the House are going to start looking at elections in 2022, and they're going to realize the last two times we elected a Democratic president, the House Democrats got slaughtered. They lost 54 seats in 1994. They lost 63 seats in 2010. So you're a Democrat sitting in the House right now, you're thinking, do I really want to go down this road and have my career end?
It's a good question. Brian Belsky wants in too.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, it's an honor to be on with you. I guess my question for you is, are you surprised at the template so far and the shock and awe? We've touched on a little bit of that, but one thing we haven't talked about, and one thing that I receive a lot of questions from clients about around the world, is this whole notion of taxes. Is he shooting himself in the foot here in terms of being too aggressive with this other agenda, not to be able to push through the taxes that clearly need to be going up underneath the agenda with respect to the left?
Well, I think he's got a real challenge, because if this economy actually stumbles into a new and deeper recession and we start seeing unemployment numbers continue to go up, I don't know how he can pass a tax increase. And again, this gets back to, you're a swing Democrat, you're in a district, there's 7 Democrats, for example, in districts that Donald Trump carried. How likely are they to vote for a big tax increase? You have a number of senators up for re-election next year. How likely are they to vote for a tax increase? I think you're going to have a business community that went from thinking it'd be okay to have Biden because, after all, he's a moderate, to thinking, oh, my God, look at all the things he's doing to kill jobs. So you could really have a huge coalition, which is what happened to Bill Clinton in '94, and it's what happened to Obama by 2010. Their natural majority lasted only 2 years in both cases. Biden is on exactly the same track. And remember, he has a much smaller majority than either Clinton or Obama had.
Speaker Gingrich, thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning. Great to see you.
Great.